The champagne glass hits the marble floor like a gunshot. Crystal shards scatter across the polished penthouse as 300 of Manhattan's most powerful people freeze mid-conversation. But Emily Carter doesn't flinch. Her platinum blonde hair catches the chandelier light as she stands in the center of the storm she just unleashed. Those piercing blue eyes that Daniel Carter fell in love with 5 years ago now burn with something he's never seen before. Pure, calculated fury. 20 minutes earlier, the Volt Dynamics Gala was the crown jewel of Manhattan's social calendar. The penthouse overlooking Central Park buzzed with tech moguls, venture capitalists, and old money families who've owned this city for generations. Emily glided through the crowd in her sleek black Valentino gown, the perfect accessory to her husband's empire. At 27, she'd mastered the art of invisible perfection. Smile on cue, laugh at the right jokes, disappear when the men talked business. Daniel Carter, 32 and cocky as a Wall Street prince, worked the room like he owned it, which, until tonight, everyone believed he did. His family circled Emily like wolves, sensing weakness. Evelyn Carter, 63 and sharp as broken glass, had ruled Manhattan society for decades. Her silver hair was pulled back in a bun so tight it could cut diamonds. Lauren Carter Mitchell, Daniel's 30-year-old sister, slithered closer in her emerald Chanel. She'd been embezzling from company accounts for 2 years, but Emily was the only one who knew. Greg Mitchell, Lauren's husband and Volt Dynamics CFO, adjusted his Armani tie nervously. He'd been cooking the books so long he'd forgotten what real numbers looked like. The attack came during Daniel's speech about innovation and family legacy. Evelyn's voice cut through the applause like a blade. It's amusing how some people think marriage is a business transaction. The nearby guests turned, sensing blood in the water. "I mean, look at Emily," Evelyn continued, her tone dripping with aristocratic disdain. "Playing dress-up in designer gowns bought with my son's money. Tell me, dear, what exactly do you contribute to this family besides looking pretty?" Emily's champagne flute trembled slightly. The humiliation burned through her chest like acid. Daniel's laugh rang out across the room. Mother's right. Emily's job is to look beautiful and stay out of the way when real business happens. The crowd chuckled. Old money loves watching new money stumble. Lauren joined the feast. Some women marry for love. Others, well, we all know what they marry for. Greg nodded sagely. Gold digging is an art form these days. Evelyn delivered the killing blow. "You're nothing but a gold-digging leech, Emily, latching onto my son's success like a parasite." The words hit Emily like physical blows. Her face flushed crimson as 300 people watched her humiliation unfold in real time. Daniel raised his champagne glass in mock celebration. "To my beautiful wife, the most expensive decoration in Manhattan." The crowd erupted in laughter. That's when Emily Carter smiled. Not the practiced smile she'd worn for 5 years of marriage. This smile belonged to the brilliant business strategist who'd been hiding behind designer dresses and diplomatic silence. She stepped forward, her heels clicking against marble like a countdown timer. "Funny, you should call me a gold-digging leech, Evelyn." Her voice cut through the laughter like ice through flesh. The room began to quiet. Because this leech happens to own 67% of Volt Dynamics, Daniel's champagne glass slipped from his fingers. The crystal explosion echoed through absolute silence. Emily reached into her purse and pulled out a leather portfolio. Her hands were steady as granite now. "Shadow Drive Capital," she announced, her voice carrying to every corner of the penthouse. "My investment firm, built with my late father's $3 million inheritance." Daniel's face went white as snow. "That money went to charity." "You said—" "I said it went to a good cause," Emily interrupted. "I never said which one." She opened the portfolio, revealing legal documents that would reshape everything. For 3 years, I've been quietly acquiring Volt Dynamics shares through shell companies and private investors. While you all laughed at the pretty little trophy wife, I was building an empire. Evelyn's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. But here's the beautiful part, Emily continued, her voice growing stronger with each word. I know about all of it. Lauren's embezzlement scheme, Greg's cooked books, Daniel's affair with his secretary, Rebecca. Lauren grabbed Greg's arm, her knuckles white with panic. Oh, and Daniel? Emily's smile turned predatory. Rebecca isn't just your mistress, she's your sister's college roommate. This whole affair was a setup to keep tabs on you. Daniel staggered backward like he'd been shot. Earlier that morning, in their Upper East Side apartment, Emily had watched Daniel practice this very speech. He dismissed her suggestions with barely concealed contempt. Just make sure you look pretty tonight, Em. Leave the thinking to the adults. She'd stood in their marble kitchen, silently arranging his notes while he mocked her intelligence to his brother on speakerphone. Emily's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but she photographs well. That's all that matters for tonight. The memory of his laughter had burned like poison in her veins. Now, watching his empire crumble in real time, Emily felt something she hadn't experienced in years. Freedom. The penthouse crowd stood frozen, witnessing the most spectacular family destruction in Manhattan history. But Emily Carter was just getting started. Because tomorrow, the real war begins. The silence in the penthouse stretches like a tightrope ready to snap. 300 guests stand frozen, champagne glasses suspended mid-air as the most powerful family in Manhattan crumbles before their eyes. But Emily Carter isn't done. Daniel's face cycles through colors like a broken traffic light, red with rage, white with shock, green with nausea as the magnitude of his wife's deception sinks in. Ladies and gentlemen, Emily announces, her voice carrying across the stunned crowd, I believe the evening's entertainment has concluded. The guests begin filing out in hushed whispers, phones already buzzing with the scandal that will dominate Manhattan society for months. Within minutes, only the Carter family remains in the penthouse that once symbolized their untouchable power. Daniel grabs Emily's arm, his fingers digging into her flesh. Private suite, now. His voice shakes with barely controlled fury. The family storms into Evelyn's private quarters, a sanctuary of old money elegance with Persian rugs and oil paintings worth more than most people's houses. Daniel's composure finally cracks. How could you hide this from me? From your own husband? His voice breaks on the last word, revealing the frightened boy beneath the CEO facade. Evelyn's aristocratic mask slips, showing the calculating predator underneath. This is fraud, Emily. Corporate espionage. We'll have you arrested before sunrise. Lauren paces like a caged animal, her emerald dress rustling with each sharp turn. She whispers furiously to Greg, their heads bent together in conspiracy. We need to handle this legally, Lauren hisses. Frame her for financial misconduct. Make it look like she embezzled the money herself. Emily stands perfectly still in the center of their panic, an island of calm in their storm of rage. But her mind travels back 5 years to a cramped studio apartment in Brooklyn. She was 22 then, fresh out of NYU with a finance degree and dreams of conquering Wall Street. Goldman Sachs had offered her a position that would have set her up for life. Instead, she chose love. Daniel was 27, running a failing tech startup from his bedroom. His big ideas couldn't pay rent, and his family had already written him off as the disappointing son. Emily believed in his vision when no one else would. She used her father's $3 million inheritance to save Volt Dynamics from bankruptcy. Every penny of her future poured into the man she thought would build an empire with her. But Daniel took all the credit. In interviews, he painted Emily as supportive but unambitious, a pretty face who made great coffee and stayed out of the way during important meetings. The Wall Street Journal called him a self-made genius. Forbes featured him on their cover as the young CEO who built success from nothing. Nothing. As if Emily's sacrifice meant nothing at all. "You ungrateful little gold digger," Evelyn snarls, yanking Emily back to the present. "After everything this family has given you." Emily's phone buzzes. A text from Rachel Morrison, her lawyer, and the only person who knew about Shadow Drive Capital. The message makes Emily's blood run cold. "Got the evidence you wanted. Daniel's affair with Claire Martinez started 3 years ago. But Emily, there's more. Claire is Lauren's college roommate from Columbia. This was planned." Emily's hands tremble as she reads the attached photos. Daniel and Claire in intimate embraces at the Plaza Hotel, at exclusive restaurants, in the Volt Dynamics conference room after hours. But the final photo destroys her completely. Claire, Lauren, and Evelyn laughing together at a Madison Avenue cafe. The timestamp shows it was taken just 2 weeks ago. They all knew. The affair wasn't passion or weakness. It was psychological warfare designed to keep Emily submissive and isolated. Every moment of doubt she'd felt about her marriage. Every night she'd lain awake wondering why Daniel seemed so distant. Every time she'd blamed herself for not being enough. It was all orchestrated. Emily looks up to find Lauren watching her with predatory satisfaction. "Something wrong, sister-in-law?" Lauren's voice drips with fake concern. Emily's heart shatters like the champagne glass from earlier. But from the pieces, something harder emerges. Pure, crystalline rage. "Daniel," Emily says quietly, "we need to talk. Alone." The family exchanges glances, but Daniel follows her to the penthouse balcony overlooking Central Park. The Manhattan skyline glitters below them like scattered diamonds. This city that once felt like a playground now feels like a battlefield. "Emily, listen," Daniel starts, his voice taking on the smooth tone he uses with difficult investors. "I know you're upset about the company shares, but we can work this out." "Can we work out your affair too?" Emily's voice cuts through his charm like a scalpel. Daniel's face goes ashen. "How did you—" "Claire Martinez, Columbia graduate, Lauren's roommate, your mother's perfect little spy." Emily steps closer, her blue eyes burning like Arctic fire. 3 years, Daniel. 3 years of making me feel like I was losing my mind, like I wasn't good enough, like I was the problem. Daniel runs his hand through his hair, a nervous habit from their early dating days. "Emily, it's just business. Claire feeds us information about what you're thinking, what you're planning." The casual cruelty of his words hits Emily like a physical blow. But instead of crumbling, she smiles. "Business?" Emily's laugh echoes across the Manhattan night. "Well then, darling, consider this my hostile takeover." She leans in close, her voice dropping to a whisper that carries more power than any shout. "I'm not just the majority shareholder anymore, Daniel. I'm the CEO of your downfall, honey." Daniel stares at her, finally seeing the woman he married instead of the decoration he created. And for the first time in 5 years, Emily Carter feels truly alive. The war room smells like fresh coffee and burning ambition. Emily and Rachel Morrison sit surrounded by financial documents in Rachel's sleek Tribeca office, the Manhattan skyline providing a backdrop to their investigation. Rachel's auburn hair falls across her face as she traces numbers across spreadsheets with surgical precision. At 35, she's Manhattan's most feared corporate attorney, known for dismantling empires with nothing but paperwork and pure determination. "Your instincts were right," Rachel says, sliding a manila folder across the glass table. "Lauren's been bleeding the company dry for 2 years." Emily opens the folder, her blue eyes scanning figures that would make a seasoned CFO dizzy. $2 million, funneled through fake consulting contracts to prop up Lauren's failing fashion brand Mitchell Couture. Evelyn's been covering for her, Rachel continues, using her influence on the board to approve these phantom expenses. Classic nepotism with a criminal twist. Emily's fingers tighten on the documents. Every designer dress Lauren flaunted. Every snide comment about Emily's simple tastes, all paid for with stolen money. But Rachel's expression darkens as she pulls out another file. Emily, there's something else. Something about your father. The room suddenly feels colder. Emily's father, Michael Harrison, died in a car accident 5 years ago. His $3 million life insurance policy became the foundation of her secret empire. I found this buried in Volt Dynamics archived files, Rachel says carefully. A partnership agreement between your father's engineering firm and Carter Industries, Daniel's father's company. Emily's hands shake as she reads the document. Her father had developed revolutionary battery technology, patents worth hundreds of millions. But the night before the final contract signing, his car skidded off a rain-slicked road in Westchester County. The patents disappeared into legal limbo, until Daniel's father, Richard Carter, somehow acquired them 6 months later for pennies on the dollar. Those patents became the foundation of Volt Dynamics. Emily, Rachel's voice is gentle but urgent. The brake lines on your father's car. The police report mentions they were corroded, but the car was only 2 years old. The words hit Emily like ice water. Her father's death, her inheritance, her marriage to Daniel. It all connects in a horrifying pattern of manipulation spanning decades. They killed him, Emily whispers, the truth burning through her like acid. They killed my father for battery patents. Rachel nods grimly. And when you married Daniel, they got access to the life insurance money too, the money that saved their company. Emily stands abruptly, her chair scraping against the hardwood floor. Rage and grief war inside her chest, threatening to tear her apart. But she's learned to weaponize pain. 2 hours later, Emily sits across from Daniel's estranged brother in a Brooklyn garage that smells like motor oil and honest work. Ethan Carter is 34, with calloused hands and Daniel's same green eyes, but without the entitled cruelty. He was cut off from the family fortune 15 years ago for refusing to play their games. I always wondered when someone would finally come for them, Ethan says, wiping grease from his hands with a worn rag. I just never thought it would be Daniel's wife. He slides a shoebox across the workbench. Inside are bank statements and canceled checks. Claire Martinez, $5,000 a month for 3 years, paid directly from Lauren's personal account. Emily studies the evidence. Every check marked consulting services, every payment timed perfectly with her most vulnerable moments. She reported everything, Ethan explains, your conversations, your moods, whether you suspected the affair. They used her to keep you isolated and compliant. Emily's jaw clenches. Why are you helping me? Ethan's smile is sharp as broken glass, because I've been waiting 20 years to watch that family burn. Friday night arrives with the weight of destiny. The Carter family's Hamptons estate sprawls across 40 acres of manicured perfection, but tonight it feels like a fortress under siege. Emily arrives in a black Tesla, her platinum hair gleaming under the estate's spotlights. She wears a simple white dress that makes her look like an avenging angel. The family gathers in the dining room where crystal chandeliers cast dancing shadows across the mahogany table. Evelyn presides like a queen, unaware her kingdom is crumbling. Daniel fidgets with his wine glass. Lauren picks at her salmon nervously. Greg sweats despite the air conditioning. So, Emily says conversationally, cutting her steak with surgical precision, I've been doing some interesting reading lately. The temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. Oh? Evelyn's voice maintains its aristocratic coolness, but her knuckles are white as she grips her fork. Financial records, patent filings, police reports. Emily's voice stays light, almost cheerful. Fascinating how everything connects when you know where to look. Lauren chokes on her wine. What kind of police reports? Emily smiles sweetly. Car accidents, brake line failures. Amazing how these things just happen sometimes, isn't it? Greg's face goes completely white. His hands shake as he reaches for his water glass. Greg, Emily continues, her voice like silk hiding steel. You worked for Richard Carter back then, didn't you? Before Volt Dynamics was even a dream? I don't know what you're talking about, Greg stammers. Michael Harrison, battery patents. A rainy night in Westchester County. Greg's composure shatters like cheap china. We didn't mean for your dad to get hurt. The words explode from him before he can stop them. It was supposed to be a scare tactic, just to make him more reasonable about the patent negotiations. The dining room falls into absolute silence. Lauren stares at her husband in horror. Daniel's mouth hangs open. Evelyn looks like she's seen a ghost. Emily sets down her knife with deliberate care. Keep talking, Greg, she purrs, her voice deadly calm. You're digging your own grave beautifully. But Emily's smile belongs to someone who's already won a war that nobody else realizes has started. The war begins at dawn. Emily Carter stands in the marble lobby of Volt Dynamics headquarters, her white Armani suit gleaming like armor under the morning light. Today, she's not playing the trophy wife. Today, she's claiming her throne. Rachel Morrison and Ethan Carter flank her like generals preparing for battle. Behind them, a team of forensic accountants carries boxes of evidence that will tear apart 20 years of corruption. Are you ready for this? Rachel asks, adjusting her briefcase with military precision. Emily's blue eyes burn with the fire of someone who has nothing left to lose and everything to gain. I've been ready for 5 years. The forensic audit begins in the executive conference room where Daniel once dismissed her as just a pretty face. Now, Emily sits at the head of the table, commanding a team of financial investigators like a conductor leading an orchestra of destruction. The evidence unfolds like a masterclass in corporate crime. Lauren's embezzlement runs deeper than anyone imagined. $2.3 million funneled through 17 different shell companies, fake consulting contracts, phantom employees, even a fictitious charity that existed only to launder money into her failing fashion empire. But the Claire Martinez expenses make Emily's blood boil. $500,000 in 1 year, charged to client entertainment while she and Daniel lived it up in Vegas penthouse suites, Miami Beach resorts, and exclusive Napa Valley vineyards. Every romantic getaway Emily thought Daniel was taking for business was actually a betrayal vacation funded by company money. This invoice is particularly interesting, Rachel says, sliding a document across the table. $40,000 for a weekend at the Four Seasons Maui, charged as a technology conference. Emily studies the dates. It was their wedding anniversary weekend. While she sat alone in their Manhattan apartment, Daniel was playing house with his mistress in paradise. Ethan leans forward, his mechanic's hands surprisingly gentle as he sorts through bank statements. There's more. Evelyn's been using her board position to approve fake vendor contracts. Companies that don't exist, services never rendered. The pattern becomes clear. The Carter family turned Volt Dynamics into their personal piggy bank, while Emily played the perfect wife, unknowingly funding her own humiliation. By noon, Emily has enough evidence to destroy them all. But she wants witnesses. The emergency board meeting convenes at 6 p.m. in the same penthouse where everything began 3 days ago. The irony isn't lost on Emily as she walks into the room where her public humiliation started. Now it's their turn. The board members file in nervously, their faces etched with confusion and concern. These are Manhattan's power players, accustomed to controlling empires, not being summoned like employees. Emily stands at the head of the conference table where Daniel once mocked her intelligence. The projection screen behind her awaits the evidence that will rewrite history. She wears the same white Armani suit from this morning, but now it feels like battle armor blessed by victory itself. Ladies and gentlemen, Emily begins, her voice carrying the authority of someone born to command. Thank you for coming on such short notice. I thought you'd want to see what your executive team has been doing with company funds. The first slide appears. Lauren's embezzlement scheme laid out in devastating detail. Board member Margaret Chen gasps audibly. $2.3 million? That's just Lauren, Emily replies smoothly. Wait until you see Daniel's expenses. The Claire Martinez receipts flash across the screen like a slideshow of betrayal. Vegas, Miami, Maui. Each vacation a company-funded affair while Emily ate dinner alone. Board member Harrison Wells removes his glasses, cleaning them with shaking hands. This is criminal. Oh, we're just getting started, Emily says, advancing to the next slide. Security footage fills the screen. Daniel and Claire in the Volt Dynamics conference room after hours, their bodies intertwined across the same table where Emily once served coffee to his investors. The board erupts in shocked murmurs. But Emily saves the best for last. And here's the signature page from a contract moving company funds to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. Notice the elegant handwriting? Evelyn Carter's signature fills the screen like a smoking gun. The room falls silent as death. That's when Ethan drops the final bomb. I should mention, he says casually, I've been quietly buying Volt Dynamics shares for the past 6 months. Combined with Emily's holdings, we now control 70% of this company. The Carter family empire doesn't just fall, it implodes. Lauren is arrested at her Madison Avenue boutique, handcuffs flashing as paparazzi capture her perp walk for tomorrow's tabloids. Evelyn's assets are frozen by federal order. The Hamptons estate, the Manhattan penthouse, even her precious art collection locked away pending investigation. Daniel watches his termination go viral when Claire's scorned college friend posts security footage of their affair across every social media platform. The hashtag Voltgate trends worldwide within hours. Emily stands in the boardroom as Volt Dynamics employees gather outside the glass walls, cheering like they've been liberated from a tyrant's regime. She thinks of her father, of the patents stolen from his cold hands, of the years she spent believing she wasn't enough. Then she announces her first executive decision. I'm pleased to introduce our new CEO, Priya Sharma. She's been overlooked by this company's previous leadership despite being the most brilliant engineer in our renewable energy division. Priya steps forward, a 30-year-old Indian-American woman whose innovations could reshape the industry if given the chance. As the applause thunders around them, Emily catches sight of Daniel through the glass. He stands in the hallway like a ghost of his former self, watching his empire celebrate his downfall. Emily walks to the window and taps on the glass. When Daniel looks up, she smiles and speaks loud enough for everyone to hear. Karma's got a better driver's license than your Tesla, Daniel. The laughter that follows sounds like freedom itself. 6 months later, Manhattan looks different through the windows of victory. Emily Carter stands in the gleaming conference room of Volt Dynamics, watching Priya Sharma command a presentation about breakthrough battery technology that will revolutionize electric vehicles. The same room where Daniel once dismissed women as pretty decorations now buzzes with female engineers, brilliant minds finally given the spotlight they deserve. Under Priya's leadership, Volt Dynamics stock has soared 40%. Innovation flows like electricity through every department, proving what happens when talent trumps nepotism. Emily smiles, remembering her father's dreams. His patents finally serve their intended purpose, powering a cleaner future instead of funding family corruption. But her greatest triumph stands 20 blocks away in Soho. The Phoenix Foundation occupies a renovated warehouse that once stored forgotten dreams. Now it's a beacon of hope for women trapped in toxic families, offering scholarships, legal aid, and most importantly, the truth that they're worth more than their worst treatment. Tonight's gala celebrates their first year of operations. Emily glides through the crowd in a midnight blue gown that makes her look like she's carved from starlight itself. Her platinum hair catches the chandelier light as she moves between tables filled with women who've reclaimed their lives. Emily calls Sarah Martinez, a 34-year-old former stay-at-home mom now in her second year of law school. "I wanted to thank you again." Sarah's eyes shine with tears of gratitude. 6 months ago, she was trapped in a marriage where her husband controlled every penny, every decision, every breath. Now she's studying corporate law, determined to help other women escape financial abuse. "You gave me my voice back," Sarah continues. "I forgot I even had one." Emily's chest tightens with emotion. This is why she endured 5 years of humiliation, not for revenge, but for this moment when another woman discovers her own power. But not every victory comes without cost. The memory of her divorce still burns like acid in her veins. 3 months ago, Daniel appeared at her Tribeca office like a ghost of Christmas past. Gone was the arrogant CEO swagger, replaced by the desperate pleading of a man who'd lost everything. His designer suits had been replaced by off-the-rack department store clothes. His confidence crumbled into pathetic begging. "Emily, please," he'd said, his voice cracking like a teenager asking for forgiveness. "I need a reference. Nobody will hire me. I'm working as a junior analyst at a startup in Queens." Emily had looked up from her financial reports, her blue eyes cold as Arctic ice. "A reference?" she'd repeated, her voice dripping with disbelief. "You want me to recommend the man who embezzled company funds to pay for affairs with his sister's spy?" Daniel's face had gone red with shame. "I know I screwed up, but I'm desperate. Claire left me the moment the money dried up. I have nothing." Emily had stood slowly, her presence filling the room like gathering thunder. "You made your bed with Claire, Daniel. Now lie in it." The words had hit him like physical blows, but Emily felt no satisfaction in his pain, just the hollow echo of justice finally served. Tonight, as Emily mingles with her foundation donors, she notices the empty spaces where old friends used to stand. Her country club companions have vanished like smoke. Women who once envied her designer wardrobe now whisper that she's too powerful, too intimidating, too much. The same society that once tolerated her as arm candy now fears her as an equal. But one voice cuts through the loneliness. Melissa Rodriguez appears at her elbow, the same bright smile that lit up their childhood in Queens. "You look like you're conquering the world one gala at a time." Melissa is Emily's oldest friend, a pediatric nurse who never cared about Manhattan society's approval. She sees Emily's true heart beneath the armor of success. "Sometimes I wonder if it was worth it," Emily admits quietly, watching couples dance while she stands alone. Melissa follows her gaze, then looks back with fierce loyalty. "Are you kidding me? You burned their castle down, Em. You gave voice to women who thought they had none. You turned your pain into power." She grabs Emily's hand, squeezing tight. "You stopped being invisible, and that terrifies people who profit from women's silence." Later, Emily stands alone in her Tribeca loft, the Manhattan skyline stretching endlessly before floor-to-ceiling windows. At 27, she commands more wealth and influence than most people accumulate in a lifetime. She's free from toxic family dynamics, free from manipulative relationships, free from ever having to smile while someone diminishes her worth. But freedom, she's learned, can be the loneliest country of all. Emily pours herself a glass of champagne, the bubbles catching the city lights like liquid stars. She thinks about the women at tonight's gala. Sarah starting law school, Maria opening her own business, Jennifer leaving her abusive marriage. Their courage reminds Emily why she chose this path. To the woman who stopped being invisible, she whispers to her reflection in the window. The toast echoes in the empty apartment, but it carries the weight of 1,000 women finding their voices. Tomorrow morning brings new purpose. Emily signs the contracts that will expand Phoenix Foundation nationwide. 50 cities, 100,000 women, a revolution disguised as charity work. Her blue eyes blaze with renewed determination as she reviews the expansion plans. She may have lost a husband, a family, and fair weather friends, but she gained something infinitely more valuable: her soul. The woman who once apologized for existing now builds empires that elevate others. Emily Carter may stand alone, but she stands unbroken. And in a world that profits from women's silence, that's the most dangerous thing of all. Her story isn't just about revenge. It's about rebirth. And the phoenix always rises.